The Thieves Guild in Skyrim is not a loose band of criminals. It is a failed institution in the middle of collapse when the player arrives. This matters because most of what we see in Riften is not the guild at its peak. It is the guild after betrayal, after rot, and after power has shifted elsewhere. What's important to understand here is that the Thieves Guild is not a random group of criminals. It is a system that only works when everyone involved understands their limits. When those limits are respected, the guild stays invisible, and invisibility is its greatest strength. To understand the Thieves Guild, we need to start with who broke it. For years, the guild was led by Mercer Frey. On the surface, Mercer appeared competent. Jobs still happened. Fences still operated. Riften still tolerated the guild. But beneath that surface, Mercer was stealing from the guild itself. Mercer Frey's actions matter, not because he stole gold, but because he broke trust at the highest level. The Thieves Guild depends on internal stability. Once leadership becomes self-serving, the entire structure begins to fail quietly. Jobs stop succeeding. Members stop trusting one another. And the city begins to notice things it once ignored. He siphoned gold. He sabotaged operations. And most importantly, he broke a sacred oath tied to the nightingales. The result was subtle, not dramatic. Jobs began to fail. Members disappeared. Trust eroded. The guild didn't fall overnight. It bled out slowly. This slow collapse is why the Thieves Guild feels desperate when the player first encounters it. This is not a guild at its peak. This is a guild in survival mode. Every job matters more than it should. Every failure feels heavier. What you're seeing is an organization trying to function without the systems that once protected it. Brynjolf, the man holding the pieces together. Brynjolf's role is often misunderstood. He is not trying to seize power. He is trying to keep the guild alive long enough for the truth to surface. That's why he recruits carefully. That's why he avoids open confrontation. Brynjolf understands something critical. If the guild collapses completely, it will never be rebuilt. By the time the player arrives, the guild's real leader is not Mercer, it's Brynjolf. Brynjolf understands the guild is dying. He knows Mercer is lying, but he lacks proof, and more importantly, leverage. Brynjolf's role is survival, not power. He keeps the guild operational with half the people, half the gold, and no protection from the nightingales. This is why the guild feels desperate when the player joins. Because it is. why the guild still exists at all. The Thieves Guild survives in Riften for one reason: Maven Black-Briar. Maven Black-Briar does not protect the Thieves Guild because she believes in it. She protects it because it is useful. The guild removes obstacles without creating public conflict. In return, Maven ensures the city looks the other way. This relationship explains why the guild still exists at all. Despite its internal failures, Maven does not tolerate the guild. She uses it. She provides protection. She applies political pressure, and in exchange, the guild removes obstacles quietly. This relationship explains why guards look away, rivals disappear. The guild isn't crushed outright. The Thieves Guild is not powerful in Riften. It is useful. Carlia and the truth about the nightingales. Everything changes with Carlia. Carlia reveals that Mercer didn't just steal gold. He stole from Nocturnal herself, breaking the Nightingale Pact. That betrayal explains the guild's supernatural bad luck, the collapse of its influence, the disappearance of its protection. The guild wasn't just mismanaged, it was cursed. Carlia's revelation reframes everything. The guild's misfortune is no longer random. It is the consequence of a broken oath. The Nightingale Pact exists to prevent excess. Once Mercer violated it, the guild lost the balance that kept it stable. This is why the guild's decline feels almost supernatural, because in part it is. The Nightingales explained properly. The Nightingales are not elite thieves. The Nightingales are not meant to be active leaders. They exist in the background, intervening only when the system risks collapse. Their absence is intentional. Their silence is the point. When they are forced to act, it means balance has already been lost. They are custodians of balance. Their role is to ensure the guild never becomes too powerful, prevent greed from destabilizing Riften, intervene only when equilibrium is threatened. Mercer's betrayal removed that balance. The guild didn't fail because it became weak. It failed because it lost restraint. Mercer's death and the turning point. Mercer's death is not revenge, it is restoration. Once Mercer is removed, the curse lifts, jobs stabilize. Influence returns slowly. The guild doesn't instantly recover, but the downward spiral ends. This is the moment the Thieves Guild stops collapsing. Rebuilding the guild. Why the player matters. The player's rise is not about skill. It's about trustworthiness. The guild promotes reliability, not dominance. This is why leadership changes quietly. No speeches, no coronation, just steady correction. Why the Thieves Guild endures. Empires fall because they demand visibility. The Thieves Guild survives because it avoids it. It adapts, it retreats, it rebalances. That's why it outlives wars, jarls, and empires. What the guild really represents. The Thieves Guild is not heroic, it is not villainous, it is a pressure valve. As long as cities like Riften exist, someone will always operate in the shadows to prevent collapse in the light. When viewed as a whole, the Thieves Guild storyline is not about crime. It is about systems failing and the careful work required to restore them. That's why the guild endures. Not because it is powerful, but because it understands when not to be.